Welcome to another episode of Brad Will Made a Tech Pod. I'm Will.
Hey, Will and Brad. It's me. Hi.
Hey, Brad.
You found me.
You seem so far away.
I'm trying to hide out in my home, but I can't escape.
Wait, we got to do the cold open. I forgot to do the cold open.
That's okay. You know what? I think a lot of standards are going out the window right now. So
everything's backwards. Fine. The world is upside down.
Yeah.
Wait, that's a Hamilton song.
Oof.
How you doing, man? How's your work? Welcome to the work from home experiment.
Yeah, I don't mind it so much. Like, we do it pretty regularly in the course of things anyway, so it's just kind of expanding that out a little bit.
You guys are
an all the time thing.
1 day a week usually, right?
Yes, that's okay. Typically what we do. So, but there are a lot of things because the rest of the week is spent in the office that I wasn't equipped for, like capturing video from video game consoles and a lot of stuff like that. So, still a lot of stuff to figure out.
So you've been setting up a lot of new hardware this week.
Yes. Should we just get right down to it? Well, I think I know where this is going.
We have some business first. We have some business to attend to. First off, big podcast news. This is the biggest podcast news we've had yet, I think.
Yeah.
We're launching a Patreon. This is unsurprising if you read the survey.
Is that how we're saying it?
I mean, right? I mean,
we're not Patreon?
Wait, you say Patreon, not Patreon?
I've never heard the word I've never heard that pronunciation before.
Well, it's for patronage. It's not for patronage.
You mean patronage?
Shit, do I say this wrong?
Oh man.
Oh, somewhere someone's yelling at me now.
Let's ask some Renaissance era aristocrats how you're supposed to say that. I'm
sure somebody will tell me that I'm wrong. But anyway, we're launching a Patreon. We have a couple of different tiers. There's there's benefits at all sorts of tiers, including access to the exclusive Tech Pod Discord.
Yeah.
Where people have already found the Patreon, just to be clear.
A handful of very intrepid, industrious folks found their way in there already.
Yeah, so it's up now at patreon.com/techpod. We're going to do a patron exclusive show once a month is the plan right now. But as with a lot of this podcast, we're figuring it out as we go along. So
yes, kind of work in progress, like soft launch, let's say. It's like phase 2 of the soft launch.
Yeah, we're going to do, there'll be some kind of exclusive content at the $5 tier. And then there's some higher tiers for people who want to get shout outs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're really excited about it and appreciate you guys.
Yes.
It's maybe the biggest piece of feedback we've gotten that you should please do a Patreon. So,
that's not the worst feedback to get, honestly.
It's very gratifying. I was very grateful to our audience. You guys are awesome.
And honestly, speaking of gratifying, I will say I remain grateful that anybody even listens to this thing. So anything on top of that is a much appreciated bonus.
Yeah. So the big thing that's happening this week, obviously, is that most of America is shutting down. Large portions of America are shutting down for coronavirus. I feel like we're on maybe the second wave because we're in the Bay Area and Seattle got hit harder earlier. They're a little bit in our future.
Yeah. And people even here started taking preemptive action. Like a lot of people have been working from home for a week plus at this point.
I mean, I pulled my daughter out of school at the start of what's now last week for listeners, but so she's been out of school all week this week. And when we started having community spread cases, I work from home. My wife works in the house. There's no reason for us to expose ourselves any more than we needed to. Yeah. So we're over here flattening the curve, Brad. That's
working on it. My mom, unbidden, used the phrase "flatten the curve" in a text message yesterday. I was very proud.
Marketing works. Good job.
They're keeping up. I mean, hey, everybody's in this together.
Yeah. There are definitely a lot of sources out there for coronavirus information. We were going to have an epidemiologist come on and talk to us this week, but it's scheduling that has gotten challenging because of
it turns out the people that know how this stuff works are in pretty high demand right now. I was excited to hear about R0, but we'll maybe get to that soon.
Hopefully we'll do that at some point in the future. We have some other friends who we can get on if we can't schedule an epidemiologist. But I mean, I think this is a good opportunity to talk about working from home. I've been doing it now for 5 years, which is a lot in terms of 4.5 years, I guess. It's a lot of working from home. I gotta imagine, like, more than anything else, your monitor situation has really come to a head this week.
That's really the only topic on my mind. I dragged the monitor
the only
home.
one. That's it, Brad. That's the only thing you're thinking about right now.
Well, in the very very narrow range of tech topics that pertain to this podcast, that's what I've been thinking about.
Okay, that's fair.
In other sociopolitical terms, there's a lot more.
Yeah.
On my mind, but so I dragged them on. I'm in monitor crisis right now, man.
Wait, did you carry a monitor on the bus, Brad?
I took a lift.
Okay, that's
company property.
That's yeah, you got to protect that.
I'm not gonna, I can't put company property at risk. But yeah, so I for a variety of reasons, I dragged a monitor home from work.
Would you get something like really big
anytime soon?
Like a UHD,
it is a Dell,
like 4K.
It's a Dell U2415. It's not even very fancy at all. It's like a $200 monitor. It is.
How many Ps does it have?
4 or 5 year old model. It's 16 by 10, so it's a 1920 by 1200, but it's essentially a 1080p ish. Nothing fancy. 60 hertz, like one HDMI input. But I needed something that, because we're going to be dealing with the console games, I needed something with an HDMI input and that was at least 1080p. Again, not the most expensive monitor. It's like a 4-year-old model, but I got it in here and hooked it up. I got these other two. I got these two 15-year-old.
The baby monitors for babies?
They're actually stacked on top of each other to my right here.
That's almost the size of one real monitor now.
God. Anyway, this thing, again, not being super fancy, looks so fucking much better than this ancient shit that I have, I've had my finger hovering over Amazon order buttons for the last 3 days, just trying to resist ordering anything.
Now's the time. There's no better time than now.
There are cheapo, I literally went to displayninja.com and went to their $100, of the buyer's guide in the $100 range. And there are monitors from $100 to $150 that are guaranteed to look like 1,000 times better than what I've got right now. So I may have to get something in here at some point soon.
You sent me a text the other day that literally said, tell me it's a bad idea to just buy a couple of really cheap monitors to hold me out while I'm working from home or something to that effect. And I was like, yeah, that's a really bad idea. Just buy one.
Why is that a bad idea?
Just buy, don't buy shit that's just going to go in the landfill in a year. Buy something.
I would never throw a monitor away. I would donate it or sell it.
But I know, but the point is, don't just buy something to use for like monitors should last a long time. Buy the good one.
Knowing me, I will buy these, planning to use them for 18 months, and then a decade from now will be.
I wasn't going to say that. That was my other thought.
So, real quick, just before we move on from this, my actual thought process, I've been talking for months, obviously, about how there's a bunch of...
Since the dawn of this podcast, actually.
Yeah. It's an ongoing topic. There are a bunch of nice higher res IPS panels coming out this year that I'm kind of getting tired of waiting for. The thought I had, though, is, you tell me, but it feels like we're 2 to 3 years tops from 4K monitors being the new 1080p monitors. We're getting there. You can get reasonably priced, reasonably sized 4K monitors now.
So I think that's probably the case, but I don't look, there's going to be problems with 4K gaming for the foreseeable future. One is that frame rate is a problem for sure.
Yeah, but one of the big factors in my calculus there is that NVIDIA introduced the integer scaling in their drivers, so you can run games at 1080p internally and scale them to 4K quite easily now. So you can that essentially that solves that problem.
Well, kind of, but the other problem is, yes, it does solve that problem. I feel like it depends on what kind of games you play. If you're playing single player stuff and you're playing at 30 or 60 hertz, it's fine. If you're playing multiplayer, if you're playing the COD Battle Royale thing that came out this week, and you want to be running at 144 frames a second, you're not going to get that at 4K for the foreseeable future.
Definitely not. Yeah. But the point I'm making is that's why I'm looking at just maybe buying into some pretty cost effective 1080p screens now. And then 3 years from now or something, I might sell those for $30 and get into 4K. The point I'm making really is that 1440p to me is starting to look more and more kind of a weird stopgap between 1080 and 4K. And that I would rather just get something this very kind of price to performance and hold out a little bit longer.
It depends on what size monitor you're getting to. I find that at bigger than 24 inches, 1080p is real hard to use.
Absolutely. I would not get 1080 at 27 inches.
Yeah. So if you're looking at a 24-inch monitor, 1080p monitors are fine. I think, I did some monitor rearranging this week because I've been spending more time in front of my desk, and I was like, I have this big ultra wide monitor, but it's on top of my secondary monitor, and it pushes that monitor down. So I was squinching down in my chair too far to get the monitor at the right height for my eyes and all that. the main one that I use to play games and work on. So I took the ultra wide, which is on a boom. It's a 34-inch ultra wide, and I rotated it portrait.
What? Do the drivers even support that?
Oh yeah, Windows it'll let you do whatever you want with whatever monitor, but it's ridiculous. Like, it's real dumb. It is so tall.
What are you putting on that thing?
So like when I'm streaming, it's all my Twitch stuff.
Okay.
So it's like, chat and OBS and all the audio business and Discord and all that.
That's a lot of real estate. That's a lot of chat at one time.
But like, you can have all of Reddit on there. Like, the whole thing just fits. Like, it's real tall.
You need to put a photo of this in the show notes. This sounds completely ridiculous.
Yeah, I'll clean up my desk enough I can take a picture. Yeah, that's a good call.
Is that thing curved?
Oh yeah, gentle curved. Okay. It's a look. It's my daughter walked in and was like, "What did you do, Dad?" It's like, well, Daddy made some mistakes.
Oh man, she's reached the stage of critiquing your desk arranging decisions.
She hasn't started giving me grief about how messy my desk is.
She has office opinions now.
She does have feelings.
Yeah.
So your monitor situation. The good news is all the rest of your tech stuff is pretty stable, and you got like
good. Actually, maybe not so much.
What else is happening, Brad?
I also chose last Friday. Well, our IT department chose last Friday to swap my work laptop out.
Oh no!
I maybe could have thought ahead a little bit more about what we might be doing for our work situation in the near future. But I had a 2013 MacBook Pro, which like 2 USB 3 ports, I think, maybe 3. So it was basically like 2 Thunderbolt 2 ports, 2 USB 3, I think.
Yeah.
An SD card reader, like everything, like all the
things you need.
Stuff.
A headphone jack.
Yeah. So this new laptop does have a headphone jack, but that's about it. So I traded that thing in.
Did you go one of the butterfly key ones? The bad keyboard ones?
I think so. From what I can tell, this one has a slightly modified design, but it is still the butterfly switch.
Okay.
So it's a 2019 MacBook
bar?
Pro. Yes. Which I'm not sure how I feel about right now.
No, it's bad.
Yeah, I don't think I'm a big fan, but I really like physical escape key, which I keep reaching for and not finding. But so it's a 2019 MacBook Pro that has a headphone jack and 4 USB-C ports, and switching to that 2 business days before we were suddenly homebound, kind of rough.
I hope you have a whole boatload of dongles.
I have one. They issued me a dongle that has USB-C, HDMI, and 1 USB-A 3.0.
Oh, so it's like a mini little docking station thing.
Yes,
that's not too bad.
I don't have nothing, but I'm pretty limited on what I can do with that laptop at the moment. Yeah. Wow. So, the shipping and supply chains have not completely broken down yet, so I might have to Amazon a couple of extra adapters here. It's been interesting. It's been fun. Asterisk.
It's
to scramble for to try to exercise some ingenuity and make some stuff work here.
Well, it's good because you have nothing else going on. Clearly, it's like definitely a real low traffic time. You guys aren't shifting to a work from home life or anything like that.
Yeah, totally. There aren't big games about to hit the streets or anything.
It's funny that you mention the the supply chain stuff breaking down, because like I've heard a couple of people who are in manufacturing talking about how they're not able to get parts, so their entire building they're not able to get like pick and place parts for circuit boards and things like that, like transistors and capacitors and MOSFETs and things like that. So their whole production lines are shut down and slowed, which is that sounds like the beginning of the chain for a lot of that stuff. Well, it's why we've seen. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of factories in China have now been offline for a couple of months, month and a half.
Oh, sure.
From the end of Lunar, they plan to be off for Lunar New Year for a couple of weeks, and then now it's been a month and a half after that.
Okay, so we've had time to deplete our stocks of those base components.
So we're starting to get thin, or the factories, the assembly places themselves have been shut down for obvious reasons. They like we're seeing that other places. The VR headsets have been thin for a while post Christmas, just because there's a big run at Christmas time, and now it's thinned out again. I think Valve did a quick run of Index sales earlier this week. The ring, I tried to get a Ring Fit the other day, and they're sold out like everywhere. When you go to Best Buy, it says there's no Ring Fits within 250 miles of your location. Not that I would go to retail.
Wow. Yeah, that apparently that was happening. That was even before all this started. Those things were pretty tough to find. So
I think it was the hot toy at Christmas this year. So it was tough to find.
Yeah, one of the 10 best games of 2019, I understand.
Oh, really? Huh. Interesting.
That's what I'm told.
Wasn't on my list, but
sure.
It's funny in this whole situation as we're shifting and there's like big societal changes happening for good reason. Just to be clear, we're like, I find it comforting that we're shutting stuff down. I wish we'd done it 2 weeks ago. I wish I had talked to my grandmother more because she was born in 1919 and grew up in London. So she was, she was a teenager in her 20s through World War II and the Blitz and all that. And she used to tell me stories about what it was like, when they were on rationing for 15 years. And, and, what it was like to get bombed by the Germans every night and how they kind of...
Did the rationing extend past the end of the war?
Yeah, the rationing extended a long time past the end of the war because European food chains were messed up for 5 or 6 years after the end of the war.
Yeah.
Like she and my mom. So my dad was a GI. My grandfather was a GI, and my grandmother, and my mom stayed there until 46, I think. And then they came over. He came back, and they came back over on a ship together. But yeah, like she would tell stories about what, trading, everybody pooling their ration cards for flour so that somebody who was getting married could get a wedding cake. And the whole block would use their flour ration and egg ration to make a wedding cake.
That's the kind of communal action that makes you feel good about, the resilience of the human spirit.
Yeah. Like when she got married, one of the women who worked in the parachute place who was a parachute folder basically stole unused, like the silk that was from parachutes that were too damaged to continue being used, and they made a wedding dress for her out of that.
That is
right?
incredible. Holy crap.
Like it's about it is incredibly stressful. It's really scary, but it was also the stories she told were about people coming together in this time of adversity, not
totally
the looting or profiteering or whatever.
We seem to be at the beginning of the process, but like the pattern that seems like it's going to emerge or always emerges in these situations is like there's an initial period of like uncertainty and fear, and then people become, I don't know if desensitized is the best word, or like the reality becomes normalized and people get used to it, and then people start kind of working together and like helping each other out and generally making the best of it, I guess.
She used to tell a story about being on a bus home from work, and they did a crazy daylight savings time, like 4-hour daylight savings time, so that people would be. I don't remember the rationale, but the upshot was it was so the Germans they'd be awake at night when the Germans were bombing, so they could shoot at the Germans or something. I don't remember why they did the bad daylight savings, but they were riding home in the bus, and the air raid sirens went off, and they started hearing bombs exploding. And one of the old guys on the bus said, "Oh, Jerry's at it again early," and everybody laughed. And she's like, "This is people can adapt to anything."
That's some real gallows humor, I guess. I don't know a lot about the day-to-day government response at the time, but like even just the visibility of like the keep calm and carry on kind of imagery that still exists to this day. Like it seems like the role of government support in maintaining the national spirit was a lot more prominent back then.
I think they valued it more, for sure. Like they were paying attention. I mean, we do have that. Like flatten the curve is.
That's sure. Yes.
Like stuff like that is in the same vein. Maybe a little more informed.
That's fair.
It's one of those situations where I feel like it's difficult to tell if social media makes this worse or better, because I feel like I'm definitely better informed than somebody would have been in, say, 1916 when the Spanish flu was going around.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's helpful. I mean, it probably makes me a little bit safer, but I don't know.
Definitely have not been sleeping quite as soundly for the last few days.
No, I've stopped reading any social media after 9 o'clock so that I can sleep.
That's probably for the best. I guess the last thing I'll say that I saw on Twitter about the response to all this and the practices that are being undertaken. I wish I'd saved it. It was just a short little thread about, basically the measures that people are going to right now are intended to, stem the spread of infection so that the healthcare system isn't overwhelmed and more people don't die all at the same time. It's more about spreading the infection out. But they were saying, one of the inevitable consequences of an effective response is that down the line, a bunch of people are going to go, well, that sure was a lot of to do about nothing. And the line that really stuck out to me was, we have to be willing to look like we overreacted later on.
I mean, look, if people are complaining that we overreacted, hooray.
Yeah, I think we've talked about the Y2K analogy before, but like that it's like we have to just assume that some people are going to roll their eyes and say that it was all a bunch of nonsense.
I mean, the Y2K is a perfect example because millions of people worked incredibly hard to make that not a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. And we were very lucky as a result of that. The thing, and this is not like, if you look at what's happening in Italy and what happened in China and think, oh, this isn't a big deal, people are overreacting, then either you're really, really bad at math or you're a fool. And it's fine to overreact, but when you're dealing with something that spreads exponentially and is doubling every 2 to 6 days right now, it seems like there, like anything we can do to prevent the number of people that need to be hospitalized from getting bigger than the number of hospital beds we can accommodate, the better off we are for us, for the healthcare professionals that have to do this work every day, and just for anything we need to keep the fatality rate from this down is good.
Yes, absolutely. So obviously then that leads to a lot of questions about, hey, what does everybody do when they're shut up in their homes for the next X number of weeks?
Yeah. I mean, the good news is this is a role I've been training for the last 20 years.
You're on top of it.
Yeah. Like I when I used to order pizza and I was home alone, I would have conversations with people off camera when the pizza guy came. So it didn't seem like I was a sad guy ordering pizza all by myself. So
wow, that is really a commitment to the bit. I'm impressed.
Oh, hey guys, the pizza's here.
Here I am partying. All of my friends are just out of frame.
Yep. I ordered pizza. I have 10 minutes to get in the shower before it's here, and I have to, be presentable for the Pizza Person. Anxiety is a hell of a drug. Like a lot of the normal work from home stuff makes a ton of sense here, right? Like it's really helpful for my mental health, at least, to maintain the normal routine. Get up, eat breakfast, take a shower, drink some coffee, sit down. The only difference is that now I don't have a commute. So my commute is 8 feet instead of spending 45 minutes in the car.
Yeah.
But I put on at least athleisure wear. So, the sweatpants and a t-shirt with some sort of design on it.
Yeah.
Eat meals at the regular times. Don't fuck up your sleep schedule real bad, because that's like, it's real easy when you're working from home to like work until 9 o'clock at night and then sit down and be like, oh shit, how did I do this?
Yes, I was definitely on Slack and going through emails at like 9:30 last night, and that's not a good way to be.
Yeah, no. So like, respect your start time, respect your finish time, within reason, obviously, and eat meals at your normal meal eating times. Eat breakfast, eat lunch, eat dinner. You put in going for walks, which I think is a good idea as long as you maintain a gap with other people.
Yes.
Because I mean, obviously the goal of working from home in this situation is to prevent infection spread or to slow infection spread. So, but yeah, walks outside are good. My wife and daughter had to go deliver the last of the Girl Scout cookies yesterday.
Okay.
So they were like driving around and dropping them at people's doors and then ringing the doorbell and running away and saying, hey, your cookies are here. Come get them.
Yes, I've definitely read stories of people like sliding paperwork under doors to be signed and stuff like that.
Maintaining outside contact with the world.
Yeah.
So, my Discord for my Twitch stream has been full of people talking about how this is impacting their lives and what they're learning and sharing information, and talking about what food they're making and what shows they're watching and what they're doing to kill time when they're cooped up inside all the time.
Yeah, and neither of us have this problem, but I imagine that is extra crucial for people who live alone.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, if you're not having adult human contact with the rest of the world, that a bunch of people are doing Zoom calls. Like a bunch of people in my VR world are having like a Monday Zoom call get together where they all hop on and kind of chat and talk about how they're doing.
Yeah. Like it's actually like just real quick. Like I just this occurred to me as you were saying that. Like it's funny how much of a positive psychological effect just hearing about stuff like that has. Like it's in my mind, it was going from, oh my God, it's doom and gloom, the world is ending. Like, what are we going to do? To hearing stuff like that. It's like, I think we could get through this. Like this is going to be fine. Like there are positive aspects here.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't The Stand, right?
Yeah,
like we're not in an epic battle for good and evil with spiritual forces from beyond our ken. This is like, I mean, yeah, give us some time.
Bring out your dead.
Yeah. This is a disease, and like, there's no mystery in how we deal with this if we're smart. So yeah, the FaceTiming friends and family. This is, if you have little kids, you know this all the time. But like, if you're eating lunch and you're there by yourself and you're alone and you're lonely, give your folks a call, or give your kid a call, or give your aunts or uncles, text your, one of the things we've been checking in with our neighbors. We have a bunch of neighbors who are in their like early 60s, mid 60s, and finding out if we can help them with whatever that doesn't involve human contact. I mean, we're happy to do.
Sure.
And then, how do you make your home like having a place where you don't have to worry about touching your face is really nice.
In your home?
You just touched your face just then.
You don't, yes, I absolutely just scratched my nose. You're talking about not having to right.
Yeah, like not having to maintain eternal vigilance in the sanctity of your home.
Yes,
it will help you maintain sanity. So like,
yeah, I've basically just been going straight to the sink as soon as I come in from having to go anywhere and washing my hands immediately.
Good policy.
But some of these studies are coming out in the last few days saying that the virus can survive on surfaces for days in some contexts. So you got to be careful about stuff you're bringing in too, which kind of leads me to wonder how I should handle grocery shopping, because that's the one thing I'm going to have to go out for at some point.
So we've been having deliveries done. You can still get Prime Now and Safeway delivery times in the Bay Area. At least we're lucky that we live someplace that we can do that.
Yeah.
We haven't been buying a lot of fresh produce that we can't like wash with soap and water.
Right.
We've been doing a lot of frozen vegetables. I bought some lettuce because I hate having sandwiches without lettuce, and I'll just take my chances.
Yeah.
But yeah, like anytime we bring packages in, we're wiping them off with those Clorox wipes, which seem to be very effective against the virus.
Yeah.
And like same thing for when we go out or come in, we go straight to the sink, wash hands, take off outerwear, wipe down all the handles and stuff that we use to get in when we come back in, wipe down the faucets and the soap and all. Like we're a little crazy over here. I don't know if it's, we might be going too far.
I don't think you can be too crazy right now.
I mean, the goal is to maintain a threat-free zone in the house, right?
Speaking of Clorox wipes and disinfectants and so forth.
Yeah.
I planned poorly.
Oh no.
We've got an okay supply of some like peroxide wipes and a few little tiny isopropyl alcohol prep pads, but our bottle of isopropyl alcohol is all but gone.
Oh no.
And it is impossible to find right now. So
do you have bleach?
I think we do.
So you can dilute that down and it's just as effective.
Really?
Is my understanding. Yeah.
Okay.
Like specifically those Clorox wipes that use bleach as the disinfecting agent are listed as one of the effective items. So
yeah, I mean, the biggest reason I like the isopropyl alcohol is how fast it evaporates, so I can use it on electronics a lot more confidently. Yeah. So I'm still trying to find a bottle, and I was going to ask you, like, as of right now, my method is that I have a bunch of bookmarks saved to the product page on, Walgreens.com, CVS.com, Target, Safeway. Like, I'm basically just checking their stock manually every morning.
Yeah.
And obviously that's not doing much good. Do you have any other tips for like trying to catch it when it's around somewhere?
So there used to be services that would do this for you. I don't know that they would have fooled with isopropyl because it's kind of a low dollar item.
Yeah.
I think other than checking in or hoofing it to your bodega around the corner from your house or whatever, I feel like you're probably boned at this point because it seems like it's going to be thin for a bit. That'll restock though. We make that here, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. All right, I'll just keep checking.
You can also use ethanol, so you can use like Everclear if you have a liquor store near you.
Oh, interesting.
It needs to be a high proof. It needs to be a high proof. So you don't want to use ethanol on your skin.
Yeah. And no additives, of course.
Yeah. The additives don't matter, but like you can't like the rum people comically we're having to tell people not to use, or vodka. We're having to tell people not to use vodka to make hand sanitizer.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. Like you want, like, because Everclear is nothing but ethanol and a little bit of water, right?
Yeah. So ethanol is 100% ethanol. It's 100% pure grain alcohol.
And that's bad for your skin?
It'll dry it out real bad.
Oh, okay. Would it evaporate off of electronics?
Should, well? Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the 10% bleach solution seems so. Apple was saying use Clorox wipes on your phone.
Yeah. So they, I'm way ahead of the curve on that one. I've been using such wipes on my phone for 2 years, so my oleophobic coating is long gone.
Well,
but they finally kind of pulled back on saying like, hey, don't use these things on your phone. It's probably fine. Those wipes, just in general, for future reference, it doesn't help now, I realize, but those wipes are super good for having around if you have kids, because when they get sick and are throwing up, you can just follow them and wipe down every surface that they touch with those. Yeah.
And we've managed to go through a couple of norovirus runs where my daughter got sick and neither of the rest of us managed to get sick.
Wow, no, that's impressive. Okay.
I mean, we're also maniacs about it, so
yeah, I mean, you gotta protect yourself. Yeah, I've talked about it on some of the Giant Bomb stuff before, but I had a pretty bad bout with hand, foot, and mouth disease a little over a year ago that I caught from my year and a half old nephew.
Nice job.
As did everyone else in the house at Christmas.
We always managed to avoid that, and I consider myself blessed because it sounds horrific.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's not going to kill you, but it is unbelievably unpleasant.
Yeah. So then I guess the last thing is what to do if you get sick, and basically call your doctor. I think anybody listening to this is probably outside of the age range that's in a high danger zone.
Yeah.
If you start experiencing shortness of breath, I think you're supposed to go to the ER, but calling your doctor is the right choice.
Yeah.
Whether you're in a comorbidity type way or not. So yeah, I think that's my sanity practices.
Yeah.
I feel like, I know people freaked out. We're recording this on Friday morning, I guess.
Yeah.
Another good work from home tip is to know what day of the week it is. You don't want to pop in for the stand up on Saturday morning and be like, hey, where the hell is everybody in Slack? And then, and then you're the jerk. It's, I would say, like, generally be careful with reading too much.
Yeah.
Like the day that all those accounts from Italian hospitals started coming out when they ran out of respirators and ICU beds for the number of people that were affected, I read those until about 3:00 in the morning and then didn't sleep for 2 days.
Yeah. Those threads were definitely the inflection point for me of like, we should probably think about staying in our house from now on.
Oh, here's one. So in my Discord yesterday, there was a conversation about what to do if your spouse or partner or parents or someone important to you isn't taking this seriously enough.
Okay.
My mom is immune compromised, and we had this conversation. We had this last week. She was like, "Oh, this isn't that big a deal," but also they came out here last month, and we're going to cancel the trip because it was spreading in China. So cognitive dissonance is a real bitch.
Yeah.
Like sharing stories. The panel that happened at UCSF middle of last week for you all. Some people posted notes from that, which were maybe not entirely accurate for the panels, for what the panel's intent was, but were painted a stark picture about the risks of this disease. The Atlantic has done a series of stories that are really good and informative without being panicky and without being overly scary, but that are, I think, realistic and show what the danger is and what the threat is in a realistic way. And I mean, try not to let your parents get on cruises if you can help it, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty safe advice. I have a related question. I don't know if you're in a position to answer it. In fact,
Yeah,
this would have this would have been a perfect question for the epidemiologist if we had put that together. But have you seen any advice about what to do if someone that you cohabitate with becomes infected?
Put them in one room, mostly by themselves.
Okay,
is my understanding.
Try to just avoid contact as much as possible. Wipe down the bathroom.
Yeah,
every 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, wipe down the bathroom. Don't you anytime you have contact with that person, wash your hands. Have them wear a mask if they're in common areas.
Sure.
Just to try to catch as many of the droplets as you can.
Yeah. I'm sure it goes without saying, sleep in different rooms until further notice.
I mean, we're working on the assumption over here that if one of us gets it, the rest of us are probably going to get it too, because it seems like inside the same house, it's pretty hard. Like if you can afford a hotel, maybe let the person who's sick stay home and the person who's not sick duck in and out.
Yeah, that's possible. Although, I mean, some of the research that's coming out about how long people are contagious is going to make that pretty impractical after a while.
I mean, probably most likely, given that people are contagious, at least in the last few days before you start developing symptoms, you probably are already infected if somebody else in your house has
that's okay.
Starts showing symptoms. I mean, so the takeaway from that UCSF thing is we really don't know a lot of stuff. We don't know how long it lasts in the environment. We don't know how long the incubation period is. We don't know when people start being contagious inside the incubation period, and that combined. Like the reason I was comforted when we started shutting things down is there's enough stuff we don't know. We're not able to test fast enough in the US.
Yeah.
So like we can't do containment strategies because we don't know. Like Ohio was saying they think there's probably 100,000 cases in the state of Ohio yesterday. But like at that point we have to do whatever we can socially to prevent spread of the disease. So
yeah. Yes.
What's up? Yeah. The last thing I wanted to talk about is that because of the way the supply chains work, this is going to take a while. It's going to take a while to come back from. Like, even if we manage the disease stops spreading in May because of season changes, it's still going to take a while to get supply chains working again. And, the things that are easier to shut, it's easier to shut things down than to start them back up. So, things are going to be weird for a while. As I told my daughter the other day, don't expect to have blueberries whenever you want. So a
lot of ripple effects.
Yeah, we're going to be feeling this for probably years, would be my guess, but at least months.
Yeah.
So
okay then.
Real upbeat stuff. Hey, sign up for our Patreon at TechPod. Patreon.com/TechPod.
It's out there. It's getting there.
Yeah, and find your community people. Like I posted a goofy video yesterday of this guy playing a calliope, and the caption was "Day 87 of the quarantine." But
yes. That one going around.
Yeah, learn to juggle, build models, order some Gunpla, buy some Lego.
Yeah. I've definitely had that thought of, it's like, okay, I'm going to be stuck in here for some number of weeks. Like, seems like a good time to maybe get a steady exercise routine going.
Yeah.
Let's read some books, watch those movies that I've got laying there.
Yeah, watch every movie that won an Academy Award. Go through you can, for $10 a month or something, you can sign up for the Criterion channel. They have infinite good movies.
Yeah. I honestly, I think like turning your attention toward a project or two, like coming up with something you can really focus on that would be beneficial long term is probably a good way to go.
Yeah, do some home repair stuff. Make your living space more comfortable and better for you, and try to turn this negative time into something that's positive.
Yeah, learn a new skill. There's all kinds of stuff.
This is I guess that's it for us this week. We'll be back next week. I think we're due for a Q&A show next week. So send your questions to techpod@content.towne.
Probably an extra fertile time for questions to come in.
Yeah, and look, it doesn't have to be about coronavirus. It can be about whatever you want. It can be about technology. Yeah. We're open to answering questions.
I might finally order a Mister. I might finally buy. I mean, if I'm going to be here for a while, I need a new tech project. That seems like a good thing to mess with.
That sounds good.
So, yeah.
I mean, there's a bazillion. You can work on your video game backlog. There's all sorts of good stuff you can do. Usually this is the part where I say leave a review on iTunes. That's the best thing you can do to help the pod. But there's more now that you can do by going to patreon.com/techpod and signing up there. Like we said before, the rewards we're going to try some stuff and see what works and what doesn't. So the rewards may change over time, but I think we're stoked that you guys like the show and want to help us keep doing this. And
it's very flattering.
It's very exciting for us. So, and leaving a review is great too. Don't feel like just because, like, if you're don't spend money that you should spend on something important on us. We're fine.
Definitely.
So yeah, thank you all. And I guess we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Be safe out there.
Bye. Yeah. Wash your hands. Wash them real good. 20 seconds. Sing the songs. Bye.